Good evening to each and everyone in Georgetown, Guyana, and the diaspora and elsewhere. Fellow citizens of Guyana, friends all, I would like you subscribe to my video and press the bell so you will get the next update as I give you my opinion to what is happening. I ask many questions, and I've been to many parts of the world, countries with different language and culture, countries with little people and countries with millions of people. But Guyana, where I am from, the country that I was born into, is a nation full of stories, full of excuse. And I wanted to know why you, the two major races, have to defend your corrupt politicians. If you have spent time and defend your parents and your family the way you're defending these corrupt politicians and making excuses for them, I think you would have been a better person and think better and see the world for what it is. Under the late Force Burnham, we know what happened and we cannot change it. It's already past. Under Desmond Hyde, we know the difference. Under Mr. Jagan, his wife, Mr. Ramatar, Mr. Jack Deal, and now Mr. Ali, we have seen a lot of difference. Friends, a so-called independence into our country. When one nation is holding on to emancipation but not going back, and the other one holding on to day of arrival but don't produce their passport to see how much visa was given to them to stay in the bloody country. Sometimes I wonder. And when I hear my black brothers in the Caribbean and Guyana talk these words that I'm going to give to you, it got me worried. The white man enslaved them. The white man take their resources. The white man do so many wrong things, I do not think if they got a chance he will exist. But no one stopped to praise him for what he has done for humanity. Every race had contributed something or the other, good or bad. And every race have good and bad. The ideology of the European may not be of the Africans or the Chinese or the Indians. But when we speak about slavery, forgetting that every nation was a slave sometime or the other, and was slaved by other nations from biblical time to now. I want to know how many generations will come to stop it? How many more generations will stand up for human rights and dignity? Under the late Force Burnham, we had so many developments. Getting rid of the 3-county train station, closing the bauxite companies them down, mess with the Yellow Bus Association, and even get interference to nationalize the industry of the sugar. My fellow citizen of Guyana, Burnham should have been given an award. I hope he got one in hell if he's there. And I want you all to know, I have nothing against the man as the man, because I realize one thing. I wouldn't blame him. I would blame the fools that believe in him, support him. You, the blacks who are calling the Indian an installed government, I hope you know Burnham was installed by the help of Digar by a coalition. And Jagan was playing game with Burnham and tell you what to do. Nagamutu will tell you the truth. Ask him quick before he get a stroke or he dead, or he hard give up. Those hypocrites. And I call them so, because there's many ways to prove a hypocrite, a parasite, such as Ramzatan. A man that how long we live, we are passing it down to our generation. We shouldn't get justice, Mr. Ramzatan. You don't lock up innocent people. Order the Timeri police to strip them and beat them and refuse them medical assistance, and the United Nations sit down with their bloody mouth shut. And then the U.S. ambassador, from present to past, said nothing about it. The Canadian, the British, and the Caribbean. We have seen under Burnham government, we had the Jim Jones massacre, 1976 or 78, the 16th of September, if I remember right. Forgive me if I err, but within that same time. We had the uprising with the Melvin and Hart family, where the Amerindian was blamed as the Amerindian uprising. There's allegation, it's alleged that when the military went there, many were killed and many women were raped. Many were brought to Georgetown, naked, and there was a truck back going into the city. They were represented by the Catholic, the UF. Come on, Mansour. Where are you, the representation of the Amerindian, since you are the leader of the United Force? You have sold your soul for a few dollars? I understand clearly that the PNC members have beaten you, take away your gold ring and everything by the Botanic Garden, where I, in Queens, present you a ring value yours many times. And I don't blame you for going against them for what they have done to you. And I don't blame you when we told you to give Jagan the few seats in 92. And we have to thank you for calling us and asking me and Bristol, because we were your supporter with many others. So let Mr. Barrett Jackney know that, and Mr. Ali. I join every political party to remove the PNC out of power for what had happened to Indian and other races under Burnham. It was different. And I was with every political group and party. I even spoke on the app, on the PNC forum by the market. And when I said the building across the road got a lot of secrets. Same time the AFC was passing with loudspeaker and music while we were speaking. And Ms. Kisoon had asked me to speak for a few minutes beyond. I ask you today, we had so many tragedy under the Burnham government. And we know he rigged all the election. He only went in there with a coalition, which has been installed through the US and the help of the YAR. And what become of the PPP in 92? Every Indian used to cost the Portuguese, the UF, put Burnham in power. The same from the Indian, the United Force and Portuguese put the black people in power, put the black man in power, because y'all are uneducated. Y'all must read the X13 plan from Jagan book, The Western Trial, 1 and 2. Y'all lucky do it, because y'all wouldn't have been there today. Learn from Chile and Cuba and elsewhere. United States had a right to protect the hemisphere against bourgeoisie communism. After World War II, they don't want fascism and communism wrong here. And America gets what America wants. But at the same time, they made a lot of mistakes, but they make a lot of good too. If you make a leader in a country by overthrowing a sovereign leader, and the leader you put in charge are doing worse, it is your duty, America, to remove them as quick as possible. For it is better to have a few friends than have many enemies. Going about and overthrowing good government is not the answer for human civilization. When we are making so many mistakes internationally, we have seen so many things. And I see today under this government, under the Barrett government, was a lot of killing and too much flood, that today a graveyard become car dealers and other things owned by Indian businessmen anyway. I have seen under Mr. David Granger what take place. And yes, it's alleged, he said too many young black boys are in prison. It's alleged, I wasn't there to hear it. We might soon run out of ledges and spaces in the offices of the house. Under Mr. Ali, we have this tragedy. We have a prisoner in prison. The police station said he came out and lighted a fire and he went back in. This is the greatest magician we have in Guyana, man. This man should be given a Guinness Book of Record medal. I cannot trust the police force in Guyana, nor the military. Especially when I heard great story like a few weeks ago, the GDF was patrolling with petrol, fuel, taking it up to whatever place they are based, being attacked by the gunboat. And according to information, it was alleged the gunboat people shoot up all the barrels with the fuel. I wonder if those barrels had water, or did it have benzene, gasoline, kerosene, or dieseline? Because I know if you hit a can with a bullet, it will and would explode. I don't care what nobody else say. Unless those military personnel also was magicians. Friends, when you are lying, make sure you lie good. You go to lie to fools. You don't lie to people who know what takes place in this world. I call upon the United States ambassador and the Canadian and CARICOM to stand up against what's happening in Guyana, human rights violation. I called upon the Caribbean to start to stand up against Guyana for what is taking place. I heard so many stories about this fire. One time they say a young girl said the fire came from the bathroom. Then some other who defending, as I was made to understand, it's alleged, Jerry Gavaya come up with so many excuses. My dear God, if he was a woman, he would have been the best whore that we ever had in the country. Because only women make so many bloody excuses and still can't come to the facts what is taking place. Jerry, again, it's alleged, I heard, so I'm using it. I ask you in the name of God to speak the truth, man. Not because your bread have butter, you don't care, but the man don't have the crumbs. And I want every one of you to know, the Portuguese, the Chinese, the Indians, and the Africans. Guyana is an Amerindian country. But the Portuguese don't claim emancipation, nor they have arrival, nor they dropped from space as an alien or rise from the ocean as mermaid, nor the Chinese. Only these two very educated nations, one from Africa and one from India. One tribal and one caste system. Y'all are making African Indian look bad. Because today, modern Africa have very educated people. They are not fools. As much as India come off of this tribal bullshit and this caste system from India and arrival. My friends, I want you all to know, none of we will live forever. And what wrong we done will fall upon our generation. But y'all want to go to heaven. You're in an Amerindian country, and this is how y'all treat them. First, to begin with, now they say they got a 13-year young girl who pled guilty to the charge of setting the fire. What about those who locked the bloody gate with padlock and all the window, and suddenly they couldn't find the keys? You mean to tell me the key melted in the fire? Too many lies. I want the international community, the indigenous community around the world to stand up against this violation. And I want the investigator and the woman who locked them up to have a lie detector test. This world is fast growing and changes are coming. Y'all might kill a few, but where y'all running? Learn from Gaddafi, a great man. Learn from Hugo Chavez, and excuse me, another great individual. What wrong has they done to meet their fate? Gaddafi was killed in a gutter. Hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars was not given back to his country. He was helping everybody. He called for unity. What was his charge? If that was not democracy that he had in Libya, then I do not know what is democracy anymore. I love the United States, don't get me wrong. And yes, this thing I cannot accept the death of these children. One young girl said the fire came from the bathroom. Now they said, this woman said, this young girl said, she light a mattress with newspaper. Friends, Jerry Gavaya, if you said that, there is a God who's a judge beyond you and them who pay you. I'm not there, don't lie, to protect the interests of hypocrites. If they lock the bloody door, then now they say she escaped. They jailed the woman who locked the bloody door and knowing a child escaped. Could it be that child, that time she says escape, after she take away the cell phone, she could have been sold as a prostitute for the interest of that woman and others? I'm only asking a question. And could it be that it was a setup, a deliberate act, as a sacrifice? Because we had Jim Jones, we had the Melvin and Hart family, what we call the Amerindian uprising. Then we had fires in some prison where some people die and some people say, oh, well, they deserve it because they murder people. Ladies and gentlemen, all 65 members of parliament present and past need a lie detector test. There are many good ones there, but I'm going to tell you, those who hold a secret for a killer is just as guilty as the killer. And I'm calling on the international community to do their work, because I am seeing that Guyana will be ruled by another nation if we don't stop this nonsense. So before it happens, I'm calling on Great Britain to step in now and seize the country back from independence. Set up your law, disarm the police and the military, and take over your country back, because it was illegal to give a man property away to others, since knowing you, Britain, was drove out of India and Africa, where you was the colonial master. And yes, those country was independent because Africans get their country. Wasn't Chinese Indian. Guyana was not independent like the Caribbean. So come on, my great king that just take kingship and the Indian Prime Minister, I urge you in Britain to do something about it, because you are the cause of it, what happened to indigenous people. Okay? So today, by the will of God Almighty, I call upon the United States to step in, Britain to step in. Mr. Ali, in the name of Allah, I ask you again, investigate this matter properly. I don't trust the police investigation, from Soka right back. And plenty of them will have a lie detector test. And I call upon the embassies to deny visa for the police, any member of Soka, until a proper investigation carried out, and let them take a lie detector test before they get a visa, or the military. And I'm calling upon y'all to stop Ramjatan and Agamutu visa until Guyana could get the right leader. As an American citizen, one who will serve this country, for democracy and human rights internationally. We urge our President Biden, the Congress, to do something about it so we can work together for humanity and open the door, Mr. Ali, to the less fortunate from Africa, Ghana, India, Ukraine, and elsewhere like Haiti. And let's put Guyana forward and let the law of the land be the law. Change the institution and give us a good constitution. No man is above the law. May God be with all of you. But we are not buying that fire story. There's more to that. Have a good day, and may Allah, Bhagwan, and God be with all of you hypocrites. Thank you.